Hi, I'm Jennifer with Bond Design Company, and welcome to the Bridge House. The Bridge House is so amazing. It has a really special place in my heart because I have been working on this project for over 4 years. The clients actually enlisted me to help them look at different properties, and I got to work with the architect, who is Michael Upwall, who's a genius. It is really and truly an incredible home. It is on a 60-acre lot in the mountains of Park City, Utah. It is 20,000 square feet. It has 6 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, a double-decker garage that can fit up to 10 cars. It has a bridge, a waterfall, an outdoor pool, an elevator, and views like you have never seen before. From the very first moment you walk up to this home, you know it's something special. There's a really beautiful entryway into the home on the front porch area where there's an outdoor fireplace. You can see the waterfall, the landscaping's beautiful. And we wanted to just set the tone immediately with a really beautiful custom door. We did this massive pivot door with this inlay bronze metal detail, and like, here's your handle, and this, oh great, it's locked. And you have to work out to pull this open because look how massive this is. Isn't that so cool? We've talked about the scale of doors before in some of our other videos. This is like a really important thing to me. I love a grand entrance. I love a big door. I think they're more welcoming. And also, if this had been a smaller door, it just wouldn't have been in proportion to the scale of this big home. As soon as you open that front door and you enter the home, your eye is going to go straight out these gorgeous windows to that view. It is actually just so expanding. When you stand out on that deck, you can see from like almost panoramic. It's absolutely incredible. One thing I'm always very mindful about is that I don't want to put a lot of super tall pieces in front of that view, so I try to keep a little bit more of a lower profile on the sofas so that you're looking up and over unobstructed, beautiful nature right outside. When you enter the home, you're going to walk into the first space, which is the great room. It's a really large space. It's anchored with a massive fireplace that we did all out of this gorgeous cream limestone, which is also on the exterior of the home. And we have views for days. One thing that we were really mindful about is we wanted to do a seating configuration that was a little bit out of the box. We wanted it to feel more unique. We had so much room to play with. So we opted for this really cool modular sectional where we kind of split it into 2. You actually kind of have this walkway that comes in here. There's no television in this room, which I love. I'm a huge fan of having no TV in certain spaces. So we didn't have to like configure the seating around a television, so it gave us a little bit more flexibility. So we split this into 2. We have these gorgeous coffee tables that are imported from Italy. They're from Henge. They have this beautiful marble on the top and this smoked hammered glass base. They are to die for. They kind of set the stage. If you notice throughout this house, I would kind of coin it as a mountain modern luxe style. We have some mountain elements, but it is very clean, very sophisticated, but definitely a touch of luxe everywhere in this home. I want to talk a little bit about cushions because We do all kinds of different cushion inserts for our clients, and they have a different impact. We wanted something that was a little bit more formal here. The client did not want something that was gonna leave like butt imprints or be really fussy. They wanted it to look really like styled and put together all the time. So we actually opted for a little bit more of a firmer cushion. So that's a trick. If you don't want something that's fussy, go with a little bit more of a firmer insert for your cushion. It will hold the shape better. If you want something that's super like sinky, cozy, relaxed, go for a softer cushion insert. So we opted for something like that here so that it could just keep its shape and feel really tailored and sophisticated. I love these integrated coffee tables and end tables that are throughout. It just gives this really seamless, really sleek look. And then I want to show you this over here. Instead of just having everything face this way, we have one section of this sectional that faces towards the kitchen and the dining room. And I love this so much because I think kitchens are a place where people really love to gather and sit and have conversation while you're cooking. And this gives you a cozy little spot to sit and still have that interaction with what's going on in either the dining room or the kitchen. So anytime you have a moment, you can have seating facing towards the kitchen. Take that opportunity. Let's talk about this fireplace for a moment. It is massive, and we wanted to have something really sculptural, so it almost felt like a piece of art. So this is a full masonry fireplace. It's by Isokern. They're one of my favorite fireplace manufacturers because we can build them to almost any size, any dimension, and they can have an open front. Some areas you have to do a sealed unit for code, for building code, but this is a place where we could do an open front, and so if I can do that, I always want to have that experience. We actually took the back, instead of it being in like a pre-manufactured, sometimes they do like kind of like a fake herringbone, or even if it is a real masonry brick. We just didn't want that for this house. We wanted to take it up a level. So we have this custom steel ribbed backing on this fireplace, which I love so much. And then we did a sculpture inside. Instead of your log kit or your fireballs, we wanted something that just felt a little bit more artistic. And I love how this turned out so much. I want to talk about this dining room for a minute because there's a couple things in here that I really, really love. First of all, we have this table that's made by Shine by Show. It's just a beautiful shape, but it also gives like a really sleek, sophisticated like centerpiece for this room. But look at this rug. This is a custom rug. It's by Erden, and it has these gorgeous, super cool brass inlay pieces that are woven into this wool rug. And it just, again, it kind of nods back to that modern mountain luxe that I talked about before. I love the texture that it brings. A wool rug is just always going to be the best selection. It has natural oils in it that actually are a little bit more of a stain repellent that's natural, that cleans up beautiful, it lasts forever, and it just has a gorgeous, gorgeous feel to it. These chairs are from Holly Hunt, and I love this custom fabric we put on them. This is a fabric from Kravet. It has so much texture to it. It's so interesting, but yet it's like really soft and sophisticated at the same time. Another thing I love about this dining room is that we have these incredible big glass slider doors that we can open up to give you this indoor-outdoor dining experience, and you even have another fire pit on the deck outside. It just gives you this really great open space. I want to talk to you about this kitchen. We wanted something that was really beautiful and really clean. The clients, they don't want any clutter showing. They want everything to look really pristine and perfect, but they use it, they cook, they entertain. So we had to have both function and aesthetics at the same time. So, a couple things I want to point out. We of course have one of our favorites. This is Taj Mahal quartzite. It's a fantastic product because quartzites have the look of marble, but they are more durable. We opted for a polished finish just to, again, kind of nod to that little bit of luxe that we have running throughout the home. And we have a waterfalled edge on both ends of the central island. And we have a counter height table that you can sit 8 people at. So it's kind of this bar, but it's not really a counter. It's like a little bit more of a casual dining space that's integrated into this room. One thing I'm really in love with right now are these utility sinks. They're called the galley sink. They're super cool. We opted for a really large wide sink because we had a lot of space. And one thing that's just so neat about these is that we have this lip that runs along both sides and a lot of different pieces, accessory pieces that you can purchase that go on top. So this right now is just a really beautiful walnut cutting board, but there's strainers, there's colanders, all kinds of just different dishes and prep bowls that you can add. So it's really, really functional. And we did the same sink on the second island and also in the pantry. So everything's interchangeable. You can take what you're maybe working on and prepping here back into the butler's pantry or over onto the other island. So very, very user-friendly. We wanted everything to have a place, so we actually have a ton of storage in this kitchen, but it's all kind of hidden and sleek. This is one that I want to point out. We wanted to extend this hood. I love this. I've talked about this before. I love having the hood extend past the range top. It just gives you a grander take on this wall. And also you have a little bit extra space here. But we wanted to make this very functional. We didn't want to lose any space. So we have this really cool swing up door that has like oils and vinegars or spices or whatever you want to tuck under there. So it's very utilitarian, but also you don't see any of the mess. I love that. We have a really pretty walnut that we had again on the cabinets. And then we wanted to just put something different above on the hood, but we didn't want to do a metal, we didn't want to do a stone, so we opted for just a high gloss paint. This is Amazing Gray by Sherwin-Williams, and we will repeat this color in some other spaces, which you'll see. All of our appliances that we could do a panel front, we did a panel front. This is one of my favorite fridge and freezer configurations because it looks like an armoire. It looks like a piece of furniture. So you have like your fridge, your freezer. You can do a lot of different configurations. Here we have 2 fridges on top and then fridge and freezer drawers beneath. But doesn't this just look like a piece of furniture? It's beautiful. And we did really, really cool hardware. This kind of modern, has a little bit of asymmetrical feel to it, which just adds a little bit of something more interesting. Behind the range wall, we have a massive butler's pantry. I want to take you inside there, but first, I just want to show you, I love a pocket door where that makes sense. This is one that can close it off. So if you don't want to see or even know it's there, you can do that. But come back in here because you will see how much storage we have here. Butler's pantries, oh my gosh, they are so amazing. I wish everybody could have one. I wish I had one that was this big. This is incredible. They are a great place to do prep work, to put mixers, dirty dishes. If you have people coming over, you can throw them back here, put them in the sink, close this off, nobody has to see. They're so functional and they really help just give a really clean kitchen and a lot of extra workspace and a lot of extra storage. So we love a butler's pantry. I also think they should be a place that are kind of fun. We did like some really pretty tile. We have a great piece of art that's coming from here. We have lots of natural light coming in. You want this to be kind of a happy space as well as functional. We have like a built-in coffee maker. We have a refrigerator wine unit. We tucked in some fridge and freezer drawers and an ice maker back here. So this kind of can give you a really good place also to mix drinks. They didn't want like a formal bar or a small bar on this level. So we wanted to have a space where they could prep drinks for their guests in here, but also kind of have the mess out of the way. So it just is super functional, really utilitarian, but also it's pretty. It keeps everything pretty and clean. As you exit the other side of the butler's pantry, you come back out into the kitchen to this second island. You guys, you would never know by looking at this beautiful kitchen how functional it is, and that is exactly what we wanted. That was our goal. We wanted tons of functionality, but beautiful. So we have another galley sink here. We have another dishwasher that's hidden, and we have tons and tons of storage all the way around this. Got to point this out because we love a hidden outlet moment. We did not want to have this be like uglied up with the ugly outlets, but we wanted it to be obviously user-friendly. We wanted to be able to have, you know, things plug in so you could still like maybe have laptops or other appliances out, still work. Because we don't have a lot of upper cabinet space in this kitchen, we had to get a little bit more creative with where we put things like dishes. So we actually did, I love this when we are able to do this. We have the peg system here so you can have your dinner plates, you can have your bowls, like really organized. They don't jiggle around in there. We did custom inserts for all the silverware. So really thoughtful about where everything went. A lot of times the cabinet meetings will take months. It's not just about aesthetics, it's also about where everything is gonna have a home. So you have to put a lot of thought into that. I never want to waste any kind of storage space. So on the back side of this second island, we also did more storage. We just have tons of cabinet space that you could put anything from maybe seasonal items, maybe it's games, maybe it's your big platters, your serveware, but we have all of this that we capitalized on. I don't ever want to waste storage space, ever. Just off the kitchen area, we have a cozy hearth room. Hearth rooms are becoming one of my favorite new spots. It's like almost replacing what used to be the den, but it's in a little bit more of an open layout. But I love them because they're a little bit more intimate. That's where you can have your TV, you can cozy up and read a book. So that is what this space is. The architect stepped it down, which I think is great because it delineates that, okay, this is a different space than the other. And we wanted to go with a carpet in here instead of a hardwood floor like the rest of the main floor, just to kind of, again, denote that this is a little bit more of a cozy, more casual space. The client really wanted to have a wraparound bookcase. This was their idea. I loved it. I'm all for it. And so this bookcase is custom made. It delineates, again, this space. It gives kind of a walkway. We can do some really pretty items on the back of it. But we had to make sure that this sectional and this bookcase fit perfect. So we had to have like tons of meetings to make sure every dimension was perfect. We didn't want the bookcase being too low. We didn't want it being too high. We didn't want the arms of this coming out and extending past it. So we had to have a lot of people and meeting of the minds to make sure that that fit perfectly. I love a moment for a little pop of color. This is a gorgeous terracotta mohair. It is a wool mohair. And I love that it just adds this little bit of warmth. We have a really neutral, clean color palette throughout the home. And it just, I felt like it really just needed just a little something to just add a little more warmth and a little bit more richness to this color palette on this main floor. So we opted for this. It was a little bit scary for my client, but they were trusting and we were like so excited. I love a mohair moment. Mohair looks so rich. It has so much depth to it. And honestly, it's a little bit more expensive of a product, but it will last forever. It will look like just a velvet, but it's better than like a cotton velvet because it just has such long-lasting abilities. And the hand of it is so incredible. It's so luxe. And it just gives you this really rich, beautiful depth of color. So this is a custom sectional by Renee Cesaris. We have a sinkier cushion. In the other sectional, we did like a firmer cushion like we talked about. Here we have a little bit more of a soft one. It's a real cozy up, read a book, watch TV moment in here. We also have a custom ottoman that we did. This is a suede leather that we have a table that fits perfectly over the top. This can slide back and forth depending on where you might want it to be. So you can have drinks in here, but you can also put your feet up on this. Ottomans are always just a little bit softer in a space, so I really like to use them anywhere you want something to feel a little bit cozier. In this hearth room, we have another fireplace that is also an isokern open face. It is totally opposite of the other one, but we needed it to balance and kind of speak to each other, but also have its own personality. We carried over the custom metal dimensional paneling that we have in the other space. We also took that in to the interior. We did another sculptural metal piece inside. It's different. The other one was more spherical and circular. This is more like sticks. So they kind of like balance each other, but they're also unique. And then we brought over the Taj Mahal quartzite that's in the kitchen on the countertops to tie that in. And then I actually really love this wood paneling that we did that goes behind the television. It has this really neat blocked detail to it in the design. It's kind of asymmetrical. It just has this groove. It has a little bit of texture. You can see the grain of the wood shining through. So this kind of brings warmth to the two harder textures. And I think they work so well together. It gives it a lot of interest, and it also lets it stand on its own when compared to the really massive one in the great room. This is why we call this the bridge house, you guys. Is this not so cool? This bridge connects the main house from the master wing, and it goes over the top of this waterfall. Views out both sides. It's so cool. We are obsessed with it. One thing I want to point out that we have not talked about yet are the gorgeous plaster walls. You don't see them as much in the main areas because there's so many windows, but you really see them in here. It is an investment, but it is so beautiful and it is so worth it. Plaster actually is a little bit more durable than paint, but it gives you such depth. You can see movement in the color, and it's just so pretty. There's a little bit of a sheen to it, and we did that on purpose. There's different kinds of plaster. So when you enter the suite, there's a few spaces. There's a primary office, a primary cozy room, the bedroom, the closets, and the bathroom. The first space we're going to talk about is this sitting room. This is just off of the bedroom, and so we wanted this space to just be so serene, so soft, just a place of tranquility. So we've picked some really beautiful colors in here, a little different from the rest of the home. We have this just really lovely, it's kind of this mauve, it's kind of a taupey mauve velvet that we have. It's also a little bit in the rug and a little bit in the pillows that we have. And you can even see it in this gorgeous slab. We have a double-sided fireplace, so this peeks through into the primary bedroom, which is kind of a neat detail. We have iceberg quartzite here that is polished, which is so beautiful. I love the pretty mauve tones in it that we picked up in the upholstery. And then we wrapped this metal with this bronze color back into the double-sided fireplaces. We have a television above, so it has this really lovely intimate seating space. You can just kind of relax at night, look at the beautiful views, and we also framed these windows with this lovely wool sheer. In the primary sitting room, we also tucked in this little comfort station here into this cabinetry. So we have a built-in coffee maker. We have some fridge drawers so you can have a drink, a little cup of coffee in the morning, some extra storage, and just these pocket back in actually, which is kind of great. I love a moment for a pocket door. So if you need to use this to kind of prep or, you know, do anything with your coffee, you have like a little bit more functionality there. This is the primary office, and I love this space so much. We wanted this to feel luxe and glam and feminine. This is for the woman of the home, and so we wanted to make sure that we had that really soft feminine touch to this. On the walls, which I feel like is kind of our backdrop that was really important, we have this gorgeous, it's a silk, like a woven silk with a metallic ombre pattern on top of it. It's by Philip Jeffries. We love all the Philip Jeffries products. And I love how organic it still feels. When you're doing anything like a woven or a grass cloth or a silk, you have to keep in mind you will see the seams, but that's okay, and that's part of what makes it so beautiful and handmade looking. So you can see where the seams are, and I love that. It gives you just a really authentic look. It's so pretty and it's so soft in here. We have a gorgeous rug from Erden again that it picks up on those mauve tones that we had in the primary sitting room, and then we brought that out a little bit more in our chair upholstery, but it has a little bit of the gold punching through. We have a really cool desk with like a marble and a brass detail, but you have to take a peek at the cabinets. For this office space, we wanted cabinetry so that we could have function, but we did not want these to be boring. We didn't want them to look commercial. We didn't want them to look too masculine. We really wanted them to be a beautiful moment. We really looked for something that would be more artistic and give us a moment to like display beautiful things. There's a concept that I had seen a picture, I'd run across it somewhere, I think in a magazine, that had this really unique shape, and that's where we started from. So we really wanted to have this beautiful kind of octagonal, it's a lengthened octagonal shape in the middle that we knew we would do something sculptural in. I love a moment for a two-tone cabinet, and so this was a perfect opportunity. We again have our high lacquer. This is Amazing Gray by Sherwin-Williams. That is the backdrop, and then we have this beautiful grayed walnut on the front part of the cabinetry. So it just gives you something really interesting, and I think it looks a little bit more luxe and a little bit more glam. We have spots to display beautiful pieces and books and sculptures, and then we have a lot of storage inside of here as well. I love hardware. Hardware is like jewelry for cabinets. And so we had so much fun when we were picking out hardware. And this is so great. It's acrylic. It has the brass detail. Again, it feels feminine but modern. It's a little bit edgy but soft. I love it, and it was a perfect thing to top it off. This space gets a lot of sun in the late afternoons and also in the summertime. So we wanted to make sure that we addressed that. So when someone was in here working, they didn't have too much glare coming in, and it wasn't getting too hot. We did these beautiful wool sheer draperies. I love a moment where you just have draperies everywhere. It's so soft and just lovely. They open up though. At the touch of a button, they're motorized, and we did a ceiling mount because we have floor to ceiling windows in here. When you're not worried about that harsh sun coming in, you have gorgeous views out to your ponds, out to the pool, and the beautiful mountains everywhere. I'm standing in the primary bedroom with Melissa. She's one of our designers, she's part of our bond team. She worked with me on this project for over 3 years, and she knows about how scary this headboard was for us.
This headboard is our masterpiece. We knew we didn't want to take away from the sweeping views across from it, so this headboard had to speak volumes on its own. Because of the high ceiling, we knew this headboard had to be magnificent in size, so we customized it to be a magnificent height of 8 feet tall, believe it or not. As magnificent as it is, was a headache to get here. We measured probably 10 times. There's like 5 different drawings and iterations. It was our baby for a hot minute. We used this beautiful silk fabric that kind of gave it that texture of serenity while not being too overly loud and competing with the amazingly cool pattern that we have on it.
This is actually anchored to the wall.
Yes.
This is not a standalone bed. This headboard goes on that wall. It's not coming off. We have custom rails made in the same fabric, the same wood, by the same company. So those just scoot right up against this. I wasn't here when it was installed,
but boy was it scary. We were so worried it wouldn't fit through the doors, but thank goodness we had a few inches left over and it made it.
The client requested pendants in this room because they just wanted to have a really clean nightstand look. We love how these turned out. They have this really beautiful alabaster stone, again with the polished nickel. We had to have these custom made to the exact perfect length so that they weren't too low, they weren't too high, they like spoke to each other, the arrangement looks exactly right.
And I think in this room too, pendants was the right move because we didn't want to do too much artwork or wallpaper. We needed something to kind of take up the wall space and add interest, right? The draperies in this room were a little bit tricky. It's always hard to do window treatments on walls that have a sloped ceiling. So instead of doing draperies on this wall, we opted to do just a roller shade for privacy and blackout. And then we did draperies on the big window because the ceiling is flat there, and on this little side window. And it just adds that bit of softness and serenity that this room really called for.
If you can, planning with your architect, you should always have a conversation about window coverings, because this was designed so that those solar shades could pocket up into the ceiling, which we are super grateful for because we don't have any of the unsightly the unsightly valances, the big metal valances that usually house those. So it's never too early to start talking about that when you're planning a home. This primary bathroom is so gorgeous. I was just really wanting to have this beautiful luxe moment. I kind of love a serene primary setting anyway. And so I think when you have a monochromatic moment, I think it really works for that. These floors look like a marble, but they're actually porcelain. Everywhere in this house, we have real stone. We have marble on these counters, but I loved the pattern of them. I love the color. It's a great opportunity because we can do really, really large scale tiles. So I love how this turned out. We have very, very few grout lines, and we took it up onto all the walls in here. So it just continues that beautiful pattern across and throughout. We have Everest marble on the countertops that we waterfalled, and we did this really thick edge. We have a 3-inch mitered edge all the way around, so it just feels super substantial. This is a beautiful marble because it has like this really sparkly quality to it. You can see the little pieces of quartzite kind of inside. It's so pretty. We did an integrated sink. Integrated sinks are so great because they just keep everything looking so seamless, and they're very, very custom, and you don't even see the drain in this one. So the counter literally just goes right down in. We have this slit in the back that hides the drain, so it's very, very cool. These are waterworks. You know I love waterworks. This beautiful polished nickel finish. This is the Tandem collection. I love this pretty detail on the hardware. We have visual comfort lights, these sconces that have the crystal with the polished nickel again. Polished nickel is just it's probably my most favorite finish because it's just so classic, and it has a richness to it because it has a gold undertone, has a warm undertone. Chrome has a really cool undertone, so it feels more sterile, but polished nickel has a warm undertone to it, so it just is so rich and pretty. This shower is fantastic. We have this tiny, tiny marble mosaic that runs straight into this linear drain. We carried the tile in here. Again, we have our waterworks hardware. It's so beautiful. I love like the big placket behind the knobs. We tiled the ceiling. We have the rain head. It has a pretty window in there. You get a ton of light in here. It's just an almost spa-like moment. We have 2 separate vanities. So we have a his and hers. So on the hers section, of course, we wanted to have more of a makeup vanity moment. I really like to keep the makeup vanities at counter height instead of dropping them down to like a desk height. I think it gives the eye like a cleaner line all the way around. And I actually prefer being able to sit at a taller height instead of all the way down low in a bathroom. I don't know, it just feels awkward to me. It's not, you don't want it to be like a dining space, you want it to be like a workspace. So I love keeping that at a counter height. So lots of mirrors, big beveled mirrors with the lights on top. I just love that. I think it's a really pretty way you get that extra reflective property to it. And I think it turned out so beautiful. The lower level of the primary wing has a gym in it. We're gonna go downstairs and we're gonna take a look. Okay, this lower gym is so pretty because it actually goes right outside. We can open this door all the way up and there's a patio here. So you could do yoga outside, you could do meditation, and it's really close to the pool area. So it's a really, really thoughtful way that this was designed. One thing I want to point out is this gym floor. I did not want to detract from how pretty this space was and from the beautiful oak floor that we have with kind of like an ugly traditional black rubberized gym floor. So this is a product, it's made by Ecor. I really love it because it looks like this gorgeous woven linen texture. So it just feels a little bit more elevated and the color is really soft. It doesn't have such a harsh like break between the wood and this. So I love how that turned out. We did a full wall of mirror so that you can check yourself out when you're working out, but we also wanted to keep this plane of the exterior limestone coming in and wrapping around here. So we have this big, thick wall of limestone. It just kind of anchors it and makes you know that like this space hasn't been forgotten, has just as much detail and thought in it. Just off of the hearth room and the dining room, you can come out onto this beautiful patio space. This is a big deck that wraps around this whole back side of the great room and dining with the panoramic views. It is so breathtaking. I would want to spend every minute out here. One of my favorite things to do to extend the longevity of our short summer seasons that we have in Park City is to do heaters. And these heat cell overhead heaters are one of my favorite because they actually look cool, you guys. They're not hideous. So they're really pretty. We have a two-tone with like the brass inside. They give off really good heat and they look more like a light fixture than a heater. So we have a couple here over this dining set. We have a cozy sitting room here with an outdoor television, another fireplace moment, swivel chairs for sure when you're outside so that you can turn around. These can face towards the dining room. They can face towards the view. Swivel chairs are always one of our favorite here at Bond. And then come over here. I love a glass railing because it just does not obstruct the view. It's so clean. I think people are a little bit hesitant to put them in because they feel like they're going to be fussy, but there are coatings that help keep the glass looking clean. So if you're going to do a glass railing, make sure you do the protective coating. But it's so worth it because look at that. Your view is just totally unimpeded. We have another fireplace here, lovely sitting area, and then even over here, back by the great room, we have some really cool chair and a halves. So you can get two people in those if you wanted, and views everywhere.
This is the main level suite, also known as their daughter's suite. It was such a fun little project of its own because the daughter wanted to have her own say on her own space. So we kind of worked a little closely with her in designing a space that she kind of felt comfortable in, that she would love to come back to and relax in.
She is just in that period of life where she's kind of transitioning from teenager to a young adult. So we wanted to make sure like we were really mindful of that. She's like a little younger, more hip. So I thought like she like really connected a little bit better, but I think it turned out so beautiful.
I think it really speaks volumes in the shape of the furniture. We liked to use a lot of the curvature, the round pieces. You'll see there's nothing actually square in here, which I think speaks more to the youthful side of things in combination with more of the neutrals, the whites, the off-whites, the beiges, the golds, and the light colored wood is more of the serene, mature side of things, I think.
We wanted her to have her own little retreat, so we definitely incorporated a seating area. This is kind of fun because it's just a really funky little shape, so it feels fresh and youthful, but she can sit here, she can like watch TV, she can read a book, she can just kind of have her own little seating area and space. And then because this room has a lot of sun exposure, we knew we needed to do something really special with the drapery treatments.
We used a wool sheer to kind of give it that softness. And I think doing full closing drapes gave it that backdrop of softness and opacity that it needed to bring in the light as well.
It's just so pretty. It like filters the sun. It's so elegant. And we love the color palette. Clearly we love the color palette. A monochromatic palette is so beautiful in bedrooms, I think. And we even took it into the bathroom.
This is the ensuite for daughter's room. And it is probably one of my favorite bathrooms in the whole house because it's so light and airy and monochromatic, just like her bedroom. But boy, was it a journey getting it here.
It was a journey. It was a struggle.
We tried to match the Dolomite
Tile
floor, the shower walls to the countertops.
We wanted the slab to be the same.
To give it that similar monochromatic look. However, natural stone is very hard to match because it's natural and there's no control.
You can't control God's creations. You have to let them be what they are.
And it, needless to say, it did not work out.
They did not match.
So literally last minute, like right before the house was supposed to be done, we changed it.
We had to find a new slab because the slabs were not working together. And to make things even worse, we color matched this cabinet to a little sample that we had. It got installed, it did not match. This is why we always save our samples.
Cannot say it enough. Save your samples.
We are sample hoarders because it just didn't match. It really truly is hard to color match things. Even when you're picking a specific paint, if you pick a Benjamin Moore, make sure they use a Benjamin Moore product. If you pick a Sherwin-Williams, make sure they use a Sherwin-Williams product because it's really, really hard to match those. This, we just had to have it redone. It was actually a pretty quick, easy fix, and it's so pretty. I love the high gloss.
Well worth it.
Yeah, and it's turned out absolutely beautiful. It's just like, it's just heavenly in here.
I think this is another testament to not needing pops of color.
Yeah.
I think perfectly fine to have a monochromatic look in neutrals. It's so beautiful and stunning.
Sometimes less is more. Now that we've explored the main level, we're gonna go down to the lower level, and this house couldn't be more cool because it has a glass elevator. Take a peek. We'll see you down there. On the lower level of the main house, we have this enormous rec room, game room, bar, theater, and even a secret club room, which we're gonna show you in just a few moments. But take a look at some of these furniture arrangements first. I love it when I have a client that will let me do something a little more out of the box with the shape of the furniture, the placement of the furniture, just the way that we arrange it. It just is always so much more interesting. Because we have a theater over here to the side and a TV here, we didn't necessarily need this to be in the main viewing spot. We wanted it to be a little bit more of a conversation area, a little bit more communal. So we have these two half-round sofas that we did custom in this gorgeous wool boucle. And we also have another one of those Airden rugs that I talked about earlier with the inlaid brass. This is in a gorgeous charcoal gray with that brass that just pops, adds that little bit of luxe element to it. I love so much. I love having elements that kind of tie throughout the house so that you see it and go, oh yeah, I saw that upstairs. It just kind of gives this really fun continuity. It's a little bit quirky. It just makes you remember what you had in other rooms. Also, this color is a perfect match to the wall covering we have in the theater. And we did some interesting shaped coffee tables, different heights. They're all octagonal. No, they're hexagonal. And they can be arranged different ways, which is really fun. I just love pieces that you can kind of move around and interchange. I think it gives a lot of flexibility to a space, and I think it makes it feel more homey. Like you can kind of sit down and move things around and get comfortable in the space. We have a pool table back here with, again, our big sliding glass doors that open up poolside, and then behind us we have this beautiful bar. We wanted a wine unit, but we didn't want to do a full wine room. So we decided to do something that was a little bit more of like a display case. It does have a chiller in it though. So it's fully functional, but look how pretty this is. We even have on the sides glass so that you can see the bottles laying that other direction with the labels facing out. And then this way they're presented to you kind of on this beautiful angle. And then inside, a table area that you could pour a glass. You have some storage. It's just a beautiful, beautiful display that we have going on here. The big thing that we loved so much and we wanted to work around was this gorgeous graphite marble. This is one of my most favorite marbles. It just is such a beautiful color. It's kind of this in-between charcoal and brown, so it has a warmth to it and a depth that I just think is so pretty. It works in so many spaces and it was perfect for here, so we knew we wanted to use this. We also have another television here, so like if there's a game on, you have multiple places you can watch. Nobody's gonna miss anything at all. The hardware is so fun in here. This is a living finish. So it's a beautiful bronze color. Living finishes, sometimes people shy away from them because it just means that they continue to patina. So the more it's handled, just the more you touch it, the oils from your skin, it will kind of give it a little bit more of a modeling or patina, but that's really desirable. It just shows that it's a natural material. It's a bronze material. So I love that look. Don't shy away from it because I think it gives so much character. So right off of our seating area, we have this theater. And our most favorite thing is this gorgeous light up onyx bar that we have. Isn't that so pretty? So we wanted to have a counter space behind the theater so you could sit and eat your snacks or even eat dinner and watch whatever's going on the big screen. This theater was really fun because we wanted to do something that was a little bit more sound dampening, and so we got to do this really cool wall covering. This is a 3-dimensional, it's padded, and it's like a velvet, and it's from Philip Jeffries, and it has this really cool, modern, like block kind of pattern to it with all these different ribbed lines, but it actually helps dampen the sound in here too. I love that this color talks to the rug that's in the sitting area just right behind us, but it is so cozy, it's so warm, and it's just cool. It has that cool factor. In this seating area, we wanted it to feel really laid back, really casual. So the sofa sectional that we have here, actually, it doesn't have like cushions, but it almost looks more like a beanbag. It's really comfy and just like you could fit, I don't know, probably 20 people on this. Again, I paired it with an ottoman with the inset tray. I love an ottoman because it's softer, but the tray is definitely more functional for the space because people are going to want to be able to set things on it. And I love a little drink table. These are so great. You can just have a few of these in the house and move them around wherever you need. They're just tucked into any small little space or little corner, and they just give you like a pretty little spot to set your drinks. I hate having forgotten ceilings, especially in rooms that are a little bit more moody and dark. So when we had the dark walls go on, we knew that we needed to do a treatment on the ceiling too. So we actually have a really cool, it's kind of like a heathered flannel, like kind of like a menswear pattern on the ceiling, just to help kind of cozy this room in. Don't be scared to do things on the ceiling. Don't be scared to have a dark ceiling or do a wallpaper on a ceiling or a pattern on a ceiling, because it doesn't make the room feel smaller. It just makes it feel a little bit more cozy and more intimate. And if you see what's playing on the screen behind me, that will give you a little clue for what's coming up in the club room. It's super cool. We definitely have a fan of Ferrari in this house. We are standing outside the club room, which we are so excited to show you. But before we go in there, we just wanted to talk about this detail because it's really extra special cool. We have a glass wall behind here, and if you peek through, you can see some of the surprises that are waiting for you. But we wanted to have a little bit of a privacy moment, so it wasn't like total straight shot into the space, but you could kind of get like a sneak peek. The architect already planned on like this slatted wall here, which was really pretty, but our client actually had wanted something that almost like looked like a louver, which I thought was brilliant. I love how like they're on the angle and then they've like cut the face so that it's a straight plane here. It just gives you this really neat, it's almost an optical illusion a little bit. So we love it so much. And now we're gonna go inside.
This is the club room. It was actually formerly named the man cave, but it was so much fun for everybody that we had to rename it the club room.
It's also more sophisticated than a man cave. It is so cool.
It was also kind of a fun project for us because it's so dark. So dark.
Moody.
And moody compared to the rest of the house. It's like airy and fresh. So it was really fun for us to kind of take a little departure.
Yeah, it's like a little bit more daring to do moody spaces, but they always pay off in a big way. We have a seating area that's central when you walk in. So we wanted it to just feel, again, this is kind of where we're kind of getting the club feel. We have these 4 swivel chairs, a TV. We knew immediately we wanted to do something really cool on these walls. We have this 3-dimensional, it's kind of a suede, almost black color. And it is so pretty, and it kind of, again, it helps with acoustics, just like in the theater, helps create this really moody feel. I'd love a moment for a glass or acrylic or crystal coffee table, because I think it kind of anchors things without feeling too heavy. So everything else is kind of dark and moody, but this is kind of gives you that lightness and, I don't know, a little bit of luxe like the rest of the house. These chairs were actually a little bit of a struggle too. Sometimes this happens, that was okay. The original fabric that we wanted kept coming in flawed. It was a nightmare. How many times did we order that fabric?
Probably 10. That's not even a joke, probably 10.
And it just kept coming in flawed, and we just didn't feel like we could put it on the chairs. We didn't want our client to have problems, so we ended up having to switch gears. This was a fabric that I actually found when I was at Paris Deco Off. It was at the Metamorph showroom, and I think it's so cool because it has that very Hermes look to it, and I think it just fits the space really nice. And so we ended up switching to these, but we love it. Melissa helped our client a lot with this artwork in here.
I think the fun thing about this artwork is while everything in this room is so modern, the pattern's modern, finishes are modern, we kind of took this artwork and we found pieces that emphasized the vintage, motorized vehicles that our client loves so much, and found a way to make them look modern and incorporate them in this space. And it's also something personal to him.
This is an F1 racing simulator. It is so cool, and it came from overseas. Our clients purchased this. He is a big Ferrari fan. He's a big motorsports aficionado. So this was really neat. We were super excited to be able to have this in the space and design around it. One thing that was tricky with the space was that we needed a little bit more sound absorption. So we needed carpet or rugs that would help with that. And because of the shape of the space, it's kind of awkward. We didn't want to have 3 rugs. So we ended up doing a custom shaped piece that we just had cut and bound. And I think it works really well. It helps kind of give this nice little anchor and helps things not be too echoey. I cannot wait. I want to see somebody play this actually. I really do, but it would be so cool. It's such a fun space.
Adding to the fun factor of this club room is a golf simulator. Had to have it, it's a necessity, I feel. Over here we had a little seating area so everyone could sit comfortably while they're waiting for their turn, tee up. We have some fun benches and little mini coffee tables, if you will. I think another fun thing about this club room that we want to kind of point out is the ceiling. We did paint it black. I know it seems controversial, but in a space like this, where we're going for that moody, that cozy together feel, it was kind of necessary to kind of bring everything down and unite everything in the room together. This is another really cool space. This is the downstairs kitchen. It actually serves the patio outside. It was kind of necessary because the journey from the patio down here, the pool side, was too far to walk up to the main kitchen. So we made this little compact kitchen to service everybody outside. So it's fully functioning. You can cook food, serve food, drinks, anything you need right there so you don't have to interrupt the fun. Something we actually struggled with in here was this backsplash. This I am obsessed with. This is actually a combed limestone tile. We originally had it just as the backsplash, but there is no good spot in here to stop a transition with these floating shelves and this huge ceiling to countertop window. So we just ended up doing all the walls, literally floor to ceiling. And I think it turned out better than we could have imagined. I am obsessed. The combed look of this tile really gives it that casual feel that I think transitions this kitchen to the outdoor space and really makes it a cohesive look.
This home has so much outside space and it adds like so many square footage of like seating areas and conversation areas. We really wanted it to feel like an extension of inside. And so when we were picking the pavers, we didn't want it to feel all of a sudden like really traditional or like Tuscan or some European. We wanted to keep a modern feel. So we picked these really long rectangular pavers, which I think definitely look modern. They kind of play off the shape of the limestone that's on the exterior of the home, and even the color kind of speaks to that as well. I think they're so cool. They're really unique. I've not seen them used before.
Because this outdoor space is so large, we wanted to incorporate a few different seating areas so you could use it all and it could be versatile. Our favorite seating area is this one right here. It took quite a few iterations to get right because it's so long, so vast. So we ended up with a 2-sectional configuration hugging this fireplace, making it so it's kind of a transitional space from inside in the family room, out here when the patio doors are open, and it's kind of a seamless walkway. You can just kind of transition the party out here, just have fun together in one space.
I think Melissa and I looked through and worked through this layout for hours. We went through so many different iterations because we just wanted it to feel it was right and it worked for the space and it gave you different little areas to congregate. And I love how it turned out.
I think another fun thing about the outdoor furniture with this house is we didn't use the same collection everywhere. And I love that we did that because it makes it feel unique. It's all cohesive, but it gives it personality and style. This is a fully upholstered outdoor sectional with some fun day beds over here. They have a fun lattice work pattern on the back. The dining set is its own thing, and all the seating areas are kind of stand on their own, but they talk together, and it really just adds that much more character to the space. Exactly what the home needed.
We're standing outside of the lower office. This is his office. We have this really beautiful glass barn door. And when you walk in, again, we didn't want any of this cabinetry to feel too commercial or too boring or too office-y. We wanted this to be a really cool office. So we did another two-tone moment, but we built these big columns in the middle to kind of separate these display cases. And then we do have storage down underneath. And we did like the dark oak with the lighter oak, kind of just give a little bit more depth and playfulness to it. I love this wall covering that we chose. Again, it's a little bit darker, a little bit more moody, kind of similar to like our club room, but it has this really fun pattern in it. And this is actually a vinyl. Vinyl wallpapers are very cool because they give you a really great look, but they have really long bolts. So you can get a lot of material out of a bolt and they go up pretty quickly. Our installers always love it when we pick a vinyl. You see a lot of these used in like commercial settings, hotels, restaurants, things like that, but they're something that you should definitely check into if you haven't already. We have this really beautiful desk. We wanted another, just a statement piece, something that has interest to it. I love the detail of the wood. You can see how it's like this really beautiful, it's almost like burl wood in some aspects, and then some parts of it look more like an oyster cut. It's so pretty, it's so unique, and it's so masculine. The client had these fantastic chairs. We all love these chairs. They're authentic vintage. We just had them reupholstered in another mohair because we love a mohair moment. And I don't know that we've ever seen these Eames chairs in a mohair. Usually they're in a leather, but we did it and we love how it turned out. The lower level has 2 guest suites with ensuite bathrooms and a bunk room. And when we were designing these, we wanted these rooms to feel almost hotel-like, resort-like, so that when the guest comes, they just feel like they're being taken care of to perfection. We wanted them to feel really serene and soft. I love upholstered headboards versus wood headboards because I think they just add that extra softness and they're like comfortable when you're leaning against them. So we did that. We did these gorgeous nightstands by Holly Hunt that have this marble detail top, this cool like brass integrated hardware. We have, again, a gorgeous wallpaper. This one has a slight metallic sheen to it, which I think kind of takes it to the luxe spot. And then all of our bathrooms that we did down here definitely have a little bit more of a hotel vibe, which I think is really nice for guests. It has all of your linens are displayed so you can easily find them, but we still have lots of storage for everything you need. And I love a big tall mirror moment, a beautiful countertop, and just kind of a monochromatic theme that just feels really spa-like and serene. This is the second ensuite guest room on the lower level. We went just a little bit deeper color on the walls this time. It has kind of a slight slate blue cast to this gray wallpaper that has a nice texture to it, a really cozy upholstered bed, and another ensuite bathroom that we love so much because the tile in the shower turned out so beautiful. We did kind of the same configuration here with the vanity, but look how pretty this tile is on this back wall. This turned out to be like a little superstar that we didn't anticipate, but we love it so much. This is the bunk room for the home. You just can't have a Park City Mountain home without a bunk room. It's just kind of expected here. And this is definitely a little bit more sophisticated take on it. We still want it to be playful, so we did some fun patterns and things with the tile in the bathroom and the wallpaper and just a little punch of, again, this terracotta color, which kind of nods to what we had upstairs in the Hearth Room. But these are so beautiful and so sophisticated and so modern. I love when I can have an actual staircase on a bunk. It's so much easier to get up and down versus a ladder. So anytime we have the space to do a real staircase, like we do it, and you should too, because it's definitely easier to access the top bunks like that. Thank you so much for joining us on this home tour. It is so fun to be able to show you everything that we're putting our blood, sweat, and tears into, and we're just excited to have you part.
Comment below and tell us what your favorite room was because we cannot decide.
And like and subscribe to our channel. We have so many more tours coming your way.